Hello my beauties and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a review of the new Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. This is not a first impression, it is a review. I've been wearing this foundation for about a week, I'd say. I got my foundation for $8.99 at Target. And I was really excited to try it because I do have dry skin, and normally being someone with dry skin, you stay away from matte foundations, but I've always been interested to try them. So when I heard that it was a hydrating matte foundation, I had to get my hands on it. I have a demo of myself putting this foundation on, so we're going to go ahead and start there, and I'll come back with the review. I want to start by telling you what I primed my face with. I did prime my face with the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Face Primer, my Holy Grail primer. And the reason why I chose to prime my face instead of just putting the foundation over it is because I always prime my face anyway, and I would always suggest to someone that they should choose to use a primer over their face. But this primer is a moisturizing primer as well. I do not use it instead of my moisturizer, but it is moisturizing as well. Alright, so I am going to apply the Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation, and I am in 40 Nude. When you first open it up, I like to put a little bit on my hand, and a little bit goes a long way with this foundation. The first time I used it, I put way too much on my hand and ended up wasting some. So a little bit goes a long way, and you can see that it is a moussey texture. Now you can always go back and get more, but I like to start with a little bit at a time, and I use my clean fingers to just spread it to the areas on my face where I want foundation. And pat it around. I am going to apply my foundation with a dampened beauty blender, but I always spray my beauty blenders with Fix Plus as well. I feel like it helps the foundation go on a little bit more smoothly. And you can see there's still a little bit on my hand, so I'm just going to dab it up with the beauty blender and start dabbing this onto my face. You want to dab it, you don't want to do rubbing motions. If you just pat it in, I feel like that works best. Don't forget to come up onto your ears, the side of your face, and down onto your neck. As you can see, this color is definitely my color. It does work well for me. It was kind of hard for me to pick because just looking at the packaging, I mean, the packaging has the different tints on it, but it's still really hard to tell what color is going to actually work for you. So I had to just kind of go based off of the fact that I know, even though on camera I feel like I look super white, and I mean I am pretty fair skinned in general, but I'm never like the ivory. Like I'm never the lightest color. Again, just patting this into my skin and coming down onto my neck. It feels really nice going on the skin. It feels nice and moussey. I normally do just one layer of foundation. I come back and do a little bit more like in my T-zone area and where I have larger pores. But I don't like full coverage. I'm not a full coverage kind of person. And I feel like when I put this on, it gives me kind of a more sheer to medium coverage foundation, but I feel like you could definitely build it up. I don't know that I would ever classify it as full coverage though. You can see this is one coat of foundation. I don't know if y'all can tell in the camera, but I have larger pores right here, and I can still see my pores. Normally, when I wear this foundation, I do put the Smashbox Pore Minimizer primer in these areas where I have larger pores. I didn't do that today. I wanted you to see it without, but I do feel like I need to use a pore filling primer with this foundation. Also, I have a bit of a blemish right here. You can see it's still fairly red. The foundation didn't cover it. So now I'm going to go in with a second coat just in those main T-zone and my cheek area. So I have a little bit on the back of my hand. This time I'm going to use my beauty blender to dab up a little bit and put it where I feel like I need a bit more coverage. Again, just dabbing it into the skin. Make sure when you're dabbing your foundation in that you're getting it along your hairline as well. You obviously don't want to put it like in your hair, but you know, mine normally ends up there anyway by the end of the day. Okay, this is my face with, I would say, 1.5 layers of foundation. I didn't do like a full second coat around my whole face, but I did apply a thin second layer in my T-zone area and on my cheeks, and I didn't add more product onto my chin, but I did kind of press it around as I was adding some more foundation. So you can see that blemish, it's still fairly red. That does have 2 coats of foundation, and I feel like I can still see my pores. I also don't normally have an issue with pores like on my mustache area, but I feel like it looks porous right now. Anyway, this is the foundation, 1.5 layers in the extra areas that I need it. I'm going to finish with the rest of my face and then we will talk about the foundation. Okay, so my first impression when I put this foundation on a week ago was that I immediately loved it. I put it on my skin, it felt velvety, it was cool, it was refreshing, it matched my skin tone, and I really liked the moussey texture. So I wore it all day, and when I got home from work, I took a look in the mirror and I noticed that in my cheek area where I have larger pores, it looked like the foundation was settling into my pores. Now, I don't have any dry patches, but it almost looked like I had a dry patch because the foundation had sunk into my pores. Now, the primer that I used that day was my Hangover RX from Too Faced. And so I thought maybe if I tried it with a pore filling primer, that would work a little bit better. So the next day, I washed my face. I put on the Thirsty Mud by Glam Glow to hydrate my face a little bit more, rinsed that off, and before I put the foundation on, I tried my Holy Grail primer, the Hangover RX, and then I took the Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer and put that just in my cheekbone area. So when I put the foundation back on, I did notice that at the end of the day, it didn't look as if the foundation had sunk into my pores like it did the day before, but it did look like the foundation was starting to break up in that area. Now, I did continue to wear it for a week. It didn't dry out my skin. I didn't have to put extra Fix Plus on during the day, but I did notice that toward the end of the day, it almost looked like the foundation was kind of disappearing. Being a redhead, I have some freckles along my jawline, and so the foundation originally covers those up, but by the end of the day, you can start to see the freckles peeking through, whereas that does not normally happen with other foundations for me. So I would say that this is a pretty sheer foundation. When it first goes on, I thought, oh yes, I'm getting great coverage, like it was covering up my freckles and problem areas. But by the end of the day, it looks like I don't have foundation on. So that's why I say I feel like even when you try to build it up, it is still more sheer. So although this has a great price point of $8.99, that's an awesome price for a drugstore foundation, I would personally not recommend this. I don't hate it. My first impression was that I hated it and I would not have recommended it to anybody. But I don't hate it. I mean, I'll continue wearing it. I'm not going to return it or anything. But at the same time, I feel like the drugstore has some really awesome foundations, like the CoverGirl 3-in-1 that doesn't break up on my skin and doesn't dry me out. So something like this, although I was really excited for a matte foundation, it just didn't have the kind of coverage that I wanted. It did not have the longevity that I wanted. And although $8.99 doesn't break the bank, there are other things that I could be using with that $8.99. So for me, the Dream Velvet was a thumbs down. I will not be repurchasing this. I don't hate it, so I will be finishing it, but it definitely won't be a repurchase, and I would not suggest it. So there you have it. That's my review. Those are my thoughts on the Maybelline Dream Velvet Foundation. If you've tried it out, let me know what you like. I have seen a lot of mixed reviews on this, so I definitely want to hear your thoughts. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you would like to see more reviews. I have some more reviews and first impressions coming up, so keep a lookout on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.